what's going on everybody? Gus here. How you guys doing today? So we're back to keyboards, clickety-clacking our way through the Akko Neon 60% Bluetooth mechanical keyboard. That one. Now for transparency's sake, Epomaker did send both this and the Tokyo World Tour that we looked at recently for review, as well as a couple of others that we are going to look at in the near future, and they are not trying to influence my reviews in any way. So this, not too differently from its brother, the Tokyo one, it's got its sights set on a very specific demographic. But in contrast to the Tokyo, it does have a bit of a wider audience in mind because, you know, Bluetooth, so wireless. It's not 2.4 gigahertz wireless, which would be awesome for gaming, but I mean, Bluetooth 5.0, it's not that bad. Still wireless. Anyway, the Neon is a 60% mechanical keyboard, which is still not exactly my favorite layout, but it has been growing on me. It's simply because I've been using way too many 60% mechanical boards lately for testing and that sort of thing, so I guess I'm kind of getting used to them. Yeah, it's still not exactly my ideal one. I like 65% boards a little bit more. In terms of the actual build, the housing, the actual case, is entirely made out of plastic, but it's actually super sturdy. It already comes with a little bit of an angle, and underneath there are 4 rubber bars to keep it in place on your desktop, plus 2 different levels of height adjustment. The PCB is standard 60% stuff, but it also comes with the needed shenanigans for you to, operate this thing on Bluetooth, like an on-off switch and the connectors for the battery, which by the way is a 1800 milliamp hour cell. The plate is aluminum and black, and the keycaps are all double-shot PBT, and just like with the Tokyo, it does come with a set of extra keycaps with cool designs in different colors for you guys to be able to swap stuff in and out. And they are all dye sublimated with no shine through, which is weird if you ask me, because this board has full-on per key RGB illumination. I mean, why? There's a black plate underneath the keycaps, and the keycaps are not shine through. It makes very little sense to have RGB lighting per key if you ask me. But, I mean, you could argue that you might switch these keycaps for something that is actually shine-through, but the whole thing about the Neon is this keycap set, this overall look. So, anyway, in terms of switches, it's all about that Gateron life. This one came with tactile Gateron oranges, and you could go for Gateron greens for tactile switches as well, and you have 3 options for linears, with pinks, yellows, and whites. Now, in terms of acoustics, there is obviously no treatment at all anywhere. The case is like extremely hollow, and there is no insulation or dampening material inside at all, and the switches are obviously not treated coming from the factory. There is no lube, no filming, nothing like that. The stabilizers, though, did come all of them lubed out of the factory, which is already one-upping the Tokyo because that one came with only one of the stabilizers lubed out of the box. They're not perfect, they're still a little bit of a rattle, and they're still plate mounted, but I mean, take a listen. So as you guys can hear, there is a bit of a ping going on that could be potentially dampened a little bit with a little bit of extra work, putting some insulation inside of the case. But unfortunately, the bulk of that ping is coming from the springs within the switches, and that's a little bit of a more difficult job to actually get right, because the switches are all soldered to the PCB. So if you want to go in there and actually tweak stuff, you're going to have to work with desoldering and resoldering stuff, and not for me. Okay, so price is an interesting discussion. Through Epomaker, the Neon is still going for $109.99, basically 110 bucks, which, at least in my opinion, as it is right now, is kind of pushing its luck. I mean, yes, I get it. Keycap sets like this Neon one do tend to go for a little bit too much money, so they do tend to creep up to that very expensive realm. And if you factor in the, 60% layout plus Bluetooth 5.0 plus the color matching cable and case, you do get a pretty compelling package. And if you go for a cheaper board to actually try and add those things later on, which would basically be limited to the cable and the keycap set, it can very well get to the same price or potentially even higher than what you would pay outright for the Neon. So in that sense, it can be competitive, sort of. But at the same time, this realm, this area of the market has been seeing quite a bit of traction, quite a bit of action coming from other brands that are trying to deliver more and different sets of both visual aspects and features on their keyboards. Like for example, hot swap, which is something that I put personally a huge premium on, and at this price point, I actually expect boards to come with this as a feature because it's honestly much more interesting to have hot swap, at least in my opinion, in a board like this than the actual RGB illumination underneath every switch. But the Neon is very well aware that it's banking its entire marketability on the looks. It is targeting a specific demographic that is looking for that whole complete color matched sequenced package out of the box without actually needing to go for a full-on custom board to be able to achieve that. So if you look at things as is, as they stand right now for $110, the Akko Neon still has a couple of strengths. I mean, it's got a good build, it's got an overall nice, visual package, it's got nice-ish stabilizers, Bluetooth 5.0, which is interesting, and a very good and good-looking PBT keycap set. But aside from the looks, this board basically has no other differentiating factors to actually, put up to that hefty price tag. Now that said, Akko, the actual manufacturer, has definitely been paying attention to what's going on in the market, because through their own website, you can grab the Neon for $75.99, $76, which is one, a very interesting undercut, and two, positions the Neon much more competitively against a whole myriad of other brands that are trying to widen their feature offerings. And at this price point, if I'm not mistaken, I probably am, but just go with it, there's only one other brand that is actually putting out small form factor compact keyboards like this with wireless Bluetooth options, and that's also adding in at least the option for people to grab, hot swap as part of the whole package. But they don't go for a more visually distinctive situation like the Neon, and that's Keychron. So from Akko's perspective, maybe having one very specific direct competitor is potentially better than having to deal with several. So for a good overall experience that out of the box is going to deliver a good quality, good construction, and a nice visual element to your setup without the need for extra effort or extra money spent, the Akko Neon 60% can 100% be your guy, especially at $76. But if you want something that's more easily accessible in terms of modding specifically for switches and stabilizers, or if you can't grab one of these for $76 and you gotta go for that $110 price tag, then maybe take a look elsewhere and take a look in the wild, because there are probably other boards that could be a better fit for you. They're not necessarily going to have this look, but it's a balancing act. When it comes to that point, you're probably going to have to choose one or the other. And that's been it. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, so like, subscribe, hit the bell, leave any comments or suggestions down below as usual, and share the video as well if you've enjoyed it, because it really helps me out a lot and I appreciate it. Thanks a lot for watching. Check out these other videos that might be of interest to you. This is Gus, and I'll catch you guys later.